Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and thank you for joining us. Today we have fellow author Ron McManus with us, and Ron is on the East Coast. Well, Chesapeake Bay, I think you're still living.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
good morning, Ron.
Well, good afternoon. We're a little ahead of you here.
That's right. That's right. Again, it depends on where you live. So now you are an award-winning author. Let's see, you've got 4 books now, I believe it is, your Jake Palmer novels,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Yes.
And you're an award winner. Tell me some about those things.
Um, well, this is my fourth book in the series was called The Chameleon. And when I wrote The Chameleon, I thought to myself, well, this is a pretty good book. Um, Probably better than my other three, because I learned, as authors do, you learn and
You learn as you
hopefully
go.
you get better as you continue to write. You continue to go to conferences, you continue to read articles and information about writing, and so you hopefully learn and improve along the way. So I'd sent it out for review. Kirkus Reviews is wonderful, and there are a number of others, Book Life. And so I sent it out for review, and I'd done this with my other books too, but the reviews that came back were very good. I mean, very
They
impressive.
are good. Having checked on those things, you've
Yeah,
got an
very impressive.
amazing
So,
review
so
history.
I said, well, I think I'll enter a writing contest. And I said, I better enter more than one because, I want to make sure I at least win something. Well, lo and behold, I won several awards, including the Chanticleer um, Grand Prize for Global Thriller and the Independent Authors Network um, overall fiction's second place book of the year. So
Awesome.
that was really reassuring, and then I won other awards as well. So it's been very well received, and so now I'm writing book number 5.
All right. Oh, that is excellent. And you have, like I said, you have tremendous reviews throughout, and that means you're a good author. And now, but you've also had other training. You're an author, yes, but you were a former naval officer, combat veteran, executive. I mean, you've done a lot of things in your life to gain a lot of information data to be able to put into your writing.
Yes.
Um, Tell me some about your history.
Well, as you pointed out, after I graduated from the University of North Carolina, I went through Naval ROTC and was a naval officer for 3 years. And part of that was on a ship, basically, oddly enough, here in Virginia Beach. Um, and then after that, I went to Vietnam for a year and served in the Navy in Vietnam. We supported the Navy's riverboat operations. I was based in Saigon, but from one time to the other, I was as far north as Da Nang, or the demilitarized zone, and as far south as an island off the coast of Cambodia and Vietnam. So traveled quite a bit with my job. Got out of the Navy and ended up getting a job. And then I ended up going to a pharmaceutical company and worked there for 30 years, with the company, which is now called GSK.
All right. So actually, you didn't necessarily have a writing background, anything you were doing, although I know there's a lot of naval officer does a lot of paperwork and probably other too as an executive. But that's not the same as novel writing.
No, no,
How
no.
did you decide to do that? I mean, we have people listening that are thinking, oh, I could probably do that. If Strider can do that, I could do that.
Yeah.
So, but how did you decide and what
Well,
really
I've done
got
a
you
lot
into
of
it?
writing, but all of my writing at the pharmaceutical company were facts and figures and data and statistics, and um, not creative writing by any means. And when I retired from the company, I said I really enjoy reading, and I love books. And I remember picking up a book. I won't name his name, but it's a famous author. And I read the book, and I went, oh, "This is not very good." And then I realized, in sort of researching it, it was one of those authors who's farmed the work out to someone else, and they sort of
That's
co-authored.
that is a method, yes.
But the voice wasn't there. You know, we talk about voice as writers, and the voice wasn't there for me. I knew there's something off, and I said I could write better than this. So I set out to write my first book. Um, you know, they say you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know much at all about creative writing. I had my work, you know, you can, a lot of writing conferences, you can have like the first 10 pages critiqued by an editor
Mhm.
or publisher. And the feedback on those in particular was extremely useful. So eventually I had my first book published and have kept writing since. Even though I didn't
That's
set out to write one, I'm now on number 5. So
there you go. Yeah. Well, you're obviously good at it, and you picked up good tips and things at conferences. I do remember conferences, the first one where I agree. I didn't even know what I didn't know. I
yeah,
just knew I
yeah.
was writing something, and my wife said, if you're going to do this, you had better figure it out. So you better let somebody teach you something, because that is certainly not my background. It just wasn't. Has very little to do with being a firefighter or a general contractor or a chef or any of those other things. It is a career into its own, and it's an amazing career. And while you do it by yourself normally, it is not a singular item. You make connections, you talk, you learn, you're with people, because that's really one of the diamonds of the trade, is that you get to make those connections and meet and be with people.
Yeah, and this, you know, I write thriller and suspense novels, and the Jake Palmer character, the main protagonist in all the books, is a former Navy SEAL. Um, and living here, I moved here after I'd written the first book, and so the second book is actually based in Virginia Beach mostly. But there is a huge amount of military here. There's the world's largest naval bases in Norfolk, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm between 2 naval bases now, the amphibious base and an Army base down the street. The Navy's even numbered SEAL teams is based here, and then SEAL Team 6 is based here. There's an Air Force base close by as well. So there's a lot of, in the big picture, a lot of resources to draw from.
Yeah.
My little, our little 12 townhouse condo development, we have a next door neighbor that's a Finnish naval officer that's here with NATO for 3 years. And we also have a retired Navy admiral, a retired Air Force general, and NATO families from Norway, and another one from Finland. So very good people to draw on. In fact, it was coincidental that my current book, I'm trying to get a defector out of Russia. And so I said, how am I going to do that? And 6 months ago, the Finnish family moved in next door. Finnish shares an 800-mile border with Russia. So he's helping me out on where
Um,
across that border I might be able to get him across.
well, we write what we know,
Yes,
and
yes,
or what we feel. And with that background, it gives you so much immersive data to write from. I could do it, but I wouldn't have near the data. I'm guessing at a bunch of it or do a lot of research. Yes, you people that historical fiction, and they do so much research to get it correct.
yes.
Because if it isn't, it's not right. It won't be
That's right.
received right. It's not going to sell right, and people will let you know that's not the way it is.
No, that's correct.
So that you have the background to understand and be able to write from. It's important. You have a new book, you said, your book 5 that you're coming out with.
Right.
How are you doing on that one?
I guess I'm about a third through with the first draft. Um, I told my wife after the first of the year, I'm just locking myself in a room and just get through the rest of it. Because in my mind, I know I'm not a plotter or an outliner. You have writers that are outliners, and you have writers that just start
Abs
writing and see where it takes them.
Absolutely.
And I'm more the latter, but I do have in my mind what that plot is and what the big things that are going to happen. It's a matter of writing them and making it interesting. It was the same with The Chameleon, my fourth book. And I was completely stuck to the point. I was just about ready to put it aside and say, I'll just write something else when COVID hit. And I had, guess what, 3 or 4 or 5 months just to,
Just
do
to sit
nothing but
and
write.
write. There was a lot of writing done during that period of time.
Yeah,
I mean,
see,
it was
that's
an
what got me
amazing
through it.
change of the world, but in some ways it had some benefits also,
Yes,
such as people learned they could work from home, and that was a whole transport of the world into doing things differently. So much like a war, it changed things.
it did.
And
Still
we're
is
just,
changing.
yes, we're still getting back to, and some hybrid between the two, which is, it's been a good thing, been growth, even though it was a terrible thing to have happen.
Yeah, one of the things, one of the things I think, to me, it's interesting anyway. So just when I started out writing, I wrote that first book and it wasn't a series. I wrote two, and 2 books, not a series. 2 books are 2 books. And now that when I got to the fourth book, I was using a publisher, or I still am using a publisher, Publish, which is more of a publishing services company.
Mhm.
And so, as an author, I approach them. They have editors, proofreaders, formatters, the entire
In their
gamut to be
system.
able to do it,
Mhm.
and then track and help with distribution as well. And so one of the things we talked about as I'm getting ready to publish The Chameleon is the books look very different because they had been published at different times with different people. And so we just started from scratch and created new covers for all of them.
I was going to say cover or format, or
The
maybe
cover,
both. Yeah,
yeah, well, the cover just was important because it gives you that look and feel
very
of
much.
where your name is, and a Jake Palmer novel, and
How they lay out.
sort of
So, yeah,
similar covers.
marketing is important. It's a tremendous thing. I mean, you can write a book, but it just sits doing nothing if there's no marketing to get it out to the people or your name. Um, that's part of what this can be, author in the headlights, to get you seen, your work noted out there again in front of people, because there are people that will say, oh, that sounds interesting. I like that. I like your concept of things, and oh, that Navy SEAL concept, that's good. I like that stuff. So just to have that out in front of the public in a way that they can connect to it and see who you are, and a naval officer, past history, and those things, everything has a connection somewhere. So
Yes,
the more
yes,
we can bounce that around, the better off we all do.
that's correct. That's correct.
So you will be on German Publishing, it's a guest authors page on their germanpublishing.com. All of your books will be there. You'll be on it and available. So anyone interested in your books can find it there, as well as wherever else it's sold, I'm sure. And we love having you. Now, I'm going to probably, I don't know, I've seen you in the last couple of years, the Chanticleer conference. Are you going to be there this year? I will be there.
I probably will.
That's a long way for you to go, clear across
Yeah, it's a
country.
long way, but while you're there, you're not far from Hawaii. So after the conference
Oh, I
went to
got it.
Maui.
Now, I haven't put that connection together, although I do know that authors tend to be travelers,
Yes,
and they check out where they're writing from, and that's a nice write-off, be able to do that. But you do have to write, and you do have to market to make it effective. So it's not just getting to go. It is because it comes out of pocket until you get there,
that's right.
until you make something happen. We are getting through our time frame again, and I hope to meet you in person again. That would be awesome.
Yes, it would.
And let me know when that next book gets out.
I will. And thank you very much for inviting me to participate in your podcast, Strider. It's been my honor.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to know. And I do happen to know that your wife has a birthday. Give her our hellos and
I will.
congratulations and all of that. And for the rest of you, thank you for being part of us here today. This is author Ron McManus, and check out his books at DermanPublishing.com, the guest authors page, and check them out there. Thanks again, Ron.
Thank you.
Till next we meet. Sponsored by DermanPublishing.com.